have a lot of issues with the thought of being drafted. I don't want to go to war or like shoot anybody, but first and foremost, I don't want to wear my hair in a slicked back ponytail. It doesn't look good. I hate the thought of it altogether. Like, let me just show you so you understand. I can't go to war. That's for certain.
There's a lot of things to say about this whole Senate panel voting to make women register to draft. But one of the few conversations I'm not hearing about is, did the Senate panel ever go to a high school PE class? I can promise you this, every single class that I've ever had in PE, there was at least half the girls who would walk the mile. So I would love to see women going through boot camp and not wanting to participate. So good luck.
You know what I think is so funny? How women in our society are so privileged that they think it's okay to feminize men because they have no idea about the evil that exists in the world and what happens when that evil comes to your shores or your doors, and how one gender is specifically made to protect all of society and has done so throughout all of history. And also platypus. I think platypus are so funny.
I've always said feminism can only exist in a patriarchy. Remember that, okay? When it comes to these feminists and feminism, period, it can only exist when there's a patriarchy. Because as soon as there's a matriarchy and it's women in charge, there won't be feminism, right? It will be, imagine the US, for example. Imagine we turn this into a matriarchy, much to what feminists want. They want to get rid of the patriarchy and they want to turn it into a matriarchy where women are in charge. Okay, where the men are completely weakened, which is already happening, and it's all women in charge. You know what would happen immediately? You would have another country invade, take over everything, start raping all of the women, start turning them into slaves, concubines, and now you would have something worse than a patriarchy, right? You would have something where it's just complete dictatorial control over everybody, especially the women, okay? They would be forced to wear a certain clothing. They would be forced to follow a certain ideology or a certain religion. They would be forced to submit to men, to adhere to men's desires, needs, wants, whatever. I mean, there would the equality that they're all fighting for, it would be completely banished. It would be gone. Your rights, the rights you think you don't have, gone. All this complaining, whatever, you would be stoned to death, right? Or flat out shot, which has happened in other countries. Like women who don't adhere to whatever the norms are in that society are killed. So that is what happened. What would happen? These chicks are just so dumb, right? I mean, these feminists are just so stupid. They can't get beyond their own arrogance and see reality. Like, what would happen if we just got rid of the men? If we did get rid of this patriarchy, I'll tell you right now, it would be a nightmare for you. It would be a nightmare for you. It wouldn't be such a nightmare for men. I think actually we would kind of have it kind of good, right? Because like whoever we got invaded by, they just tell the men stand up, recognize and start being men again, and don't let these women have control ever again. So you would get something worse than what you have or what you think you have now, right? Because these feminists, these women, period, women all over the U.S., they have it so good. They have it so good, and they take it for they take it for granted, right? They're so unappreciative of how good they actually have it until it's taken away, until it's gone, right? So whenever I see these dumbasses out there like a Alyssa Milano or what's her name, Emma Watson, or any of these like celebrity feminists, it's like, dude, you can only have feminism because you're living in a patriarchy, because we're protecting you. Okay, and people are allowing you, and I said that, they are allowing you to speak. They're allowing you to spread your evil, your evil malarkey to other dumb women out there who are buying into it. But they never stop to think, like, what would happen if we did get rid of men, right? I mean, because we love to joke, right? Like if men left the planet for a month, like they'd all die off, they'd all starve, because who's going to run the, like the farming and these factories, and who's going to like drill for the oil? I mean, who's going to do this stuff? They would be living in the dark, which is true, right? Which is true. I mean, because statistically, all of these hard jobs, these dangerous jobs that keep the world running, are done by men, right? They're primarily done by men, overwhelmingly done by men, right? If you need your plumbing fix, or say your heater goes out or something, you need your electrical fix. If you go and on Yelp to try to find like a female plumber or a female electrician, good luck with that. You won't. You'll never see, Betty's Electrical Services, woman owned. No, you're not going to see that, right? Or Betty's Plumbing Service, woman, female owned. You're not going to see that, right? I'm sure there's some female plumbers out there, right? Of course there are. I mean, of course there are some female electricians out there, but good luck trying to find them. It's pretty hard to come by. It's like trying to find a female mechanic. I remember there was a female mechanic. I just read an article on this not that long ago. She was all about women's empowerment, and she wanted to start like her own auto repair shop, just all females, and it turned into a nightmare. She was like, none of these chicks wanted to work, none of them wanted to get dirty, and not only that, but all of them were completely lost when it came to basic things that needed to be fixed. And these are women who graduated from like the mechanic school and the trade school. They were still struggling, and customers were upset. They were getting blasted on Yelp and by other women. Other women were like, I went there because it was female owned. What a nightmare. Well, oh my gosh, my car is worse now. It's like, well, what do you expect? Women and machinery just don't mix. They just don't. This is why myself, I don't fly that often anymore, and I'm going to cut back on my flying now that many of these airlines are going woke, and I think United is trying to purposely install like 5,000, like they have a quota for 5,000 new female pilots and like female pilots, right? And I'm like, just based on the women parallel park, I would be very nervous if my captain was female, right? I'm not even going to apologize for that. I would, right? I feel like my safety would be more at risk. And of course they'll do that dumbass argument. They're like, well, what if the pilot is male and he's aging, he's old, he can barely see, and he's kind of a drunk on the weekends. Would you rather have him? They do that straw man argument. They're like, no, all things equal, I prefer to have a male pilot, right? Obviously a good one, right? But in any case, yeah, feminism can only exist in a first world country where there is a patriarchy. Because again, the second there is a matriarchy and they get their little evil fantasy fulfilled and the men are removed from society, we will be invaded like that in a heartbeat, right? We will be invaded like that by a number, not just one country, but a number of countries wanting to stake claim on the US, the former superpower, the last freestanding, country in the world. They would want to just get their hands on all of our resources and all of our women. Those would be the first ones to go. I remember when my grandmother was still alive. I remember I was young. She was telling me this story about how she was in this country, and it was during World War II, I believe. And the Japanese invaded, and she said we, like all of the women, had to hide. She was like, they had to like create bunkers for the women to hide. And I said, why? She goes, because they were coming, they were trying to rape, they were going to come and rape the women. I was like, they were there to like, do what they had to do because it was war. She was like, no, their first priority was raping the women, so believe me, if women were in charge, like you get your wish, we weaken all the men, we turn them all into pussies, and we emasculate them like the feminists want. That is exactly what's going to happen first and foremost. Yeah, you're going to have all these countries come over here in parachutes, like Red Dawn style. You ever watch Red Dawn? Red Dawn style, friggin' coming in parachutes, just enslaving everyone, putting everyone in prison camps and jails, and they're going to take these women and they're going to turn them into their freaking whores. They're going to turn them into their personal prostitutes and slaves. You're going to be a sex slave for these soldiers who come and invade the U.S. That's what's going to happen, right? You think it's going to be all rosy, like, oh, finally, people will leave us alone. We've got a matriarchy. Look, woman-owned. The U.S. is female-owned. No, they're going to come, and they're going to take all these women, and they are going to rape the shit out of them, period, right? Your daughters, your wives, they're going to take all of them, right? Once the men are removed, once the patriarchy is gone. The only thing that allows you to broadcast, like, all your complaints about men and, men period, is the patriarchy, okay? And yes, the snoring is coming from Cash over here. That's Cash. That's my pug. See, he's snoring, he's sleeping. Because it's early morning. I'm shooting this coaching video for you guys, like early in the morning. There's not even light out there. I'm up early because I'm hit the gym. But let's see. There we go. It's like, why'd you wake me up, Dad? But that's what would happen when you remove the patriarchy, and it's hilarious too how these women are complaining about the draft, right? Because you notice feminists only want equality when it benefits them, but as soon as it doesn't, like if there's a draft, they don't want to be part of it, right? They don't want to be part of the draft, and thanks to all of this wokeness going around and us funding essentially Ukraine at this point with your money, there could be a World War III. There might be, right? At least at the time of this coaching video. And if the Senate does vote on a draft, I mean, hey, you want equality? There you go. You got equality. You will be drafted just like men. And if you go to war, and just like my grandmother said, they were trying to rape civilians. But imagine you are a soldier on the battlefield and they see you and you're out in the open and you're female and you're in the middle of some swamp by yourself or with some other chick. Believe me, those soldiers will come along and rape you too. Right? And I'm just being real. I hate to be so blunt and, but I'm just being real with you guys. That's what would happen if the patriarchy was gone, and this is why so many women are wanting it to come back, especially former feminists, which I am happy to see. But I'm going to wrap up here. Drop your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you'd like to add, anything you'd like to share, please drop them in the comments below. As always, this is M from the 33 Secrets, signing out here. Don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, smash that notification bell as well so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure that if you love my work, if you love what I'm teaching here, it's adding value to your life, if you want to help me out, jump into 7 months of mastery. You're going to get a ton of value out of it. This is my personal program where I teach you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women in the world. I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s. I'm not talking about single moms, divorced single moms, damaged women over 30, women with 5 therapists. No, I'm talking about the cream of the crop, just young, attractive, beautiful, and very classic and traditional women who are not like modern women. I teach you where to find these girls, how to cold approach them, and how to bring them into your life. I have many successful students around the world now, many of which have gotten married and had children and had families. It's crazy, with women that are, that are beyond, let's say, a bit out of their league, to put it nicely, right? They were able to get women who were more attractive than they would normally have gotten if they hadn't been in mastery, and women that they probably would not have found if they had never gone through my mastery program and learned my teachings, right? So I teach you this stuff, and I teach you from a red pill perspective. I'm a professional pickup artist. I've been out there for the last 3 decades now. I've been coaching men since the 90s, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I know how to find these girls. I still go out to this very day, and so I'm still fresh in the game, and you're going to learn a ton and get a ton out of value out of my 7 months of mastery program, right? And it's really easy to sign up. Well, right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons, so take advantage of it. All you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you